And I have no idea what possessed me, and went 40, 50 meters and just jumped on his chest with my knees. He was on the ground. And I'm hearing now our owner, Joey, on the top floor, and he's screaming, Nick, what did you do? And I think I found the right coach at the right moment, and that's where everything took off. At one point, you're going to hit a wall. I decided not to play that season and stay with the national team. This is where I want to be. My objective was to play in that World Cup. We stuck through a lot of difficult moments. There's when I really, really felt, man, we're there. We're there. You know, we want soccer to really now take its place in Quebec and in Canada and North America.
Now, this week's guest is Nick DeSantis. That's right. Former Montreal and Supra men's national team. He's a star. He's got the best hair in Canada easily. This gentleman is joining us in studio. Now, he's joined the FC Supra as an executive advisor and is a key addition to the club. But he knows football inside and out, and this is going to be an absolutely fantastic conversation because he has such an amazing history, including actually being connected to the original Supra Montreal that was here back in the 80s and 90s. So this is going to be an absolutely great conversation. DeSantis went on to play also in his career with the Montreal Impact and several other clubs across North America, while also earning multiple calls up to the Canadian men's national team. He built and accomplished coaching executive career with the Impact following his playing days, underscoring his enduring commitment and advancing Canadian football at every level. So who better than to talk all things football here on the first half? Welcome back to the first half on TSN 690 iHeartRadio. This is the first half. Do you like this kind of music? Do you jam? Do you jam to this kind of stuff?
I listen
Not so
to
much.
anything.
You listen to everything? Okay, I see the way you're answering that. You're very political. I got you. I got you. Don't ask that question again about Toots and the Maytals. Nick DeSantis, thank you for joining us in studio.
My pleasure.
Reviewing the bio is ridiculous. It's because I know you as some, like, I don't know. I feel like I know you, and then I read that and I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. This guy's a legend. And
Old.
No, old.
You can say it.
I didn't say that. I didn't. And it's not. It's not the case. And so, give us a little bit of a background on, where you're born and how did you get into football?
Yeah, so I was born in Montreal.
Yep.
I won't mention the year, but born a long time ago. And I guess I was always into sports because growing up as a kid, it was always hockey and soccer all the time. I played hockey during the winter, soccer during the summer. Then it started where I was doing soccer in the winter as well. And I played both sports for up until I was, I think, 16, 17.
Oh, wow.
And I enjoyed hockey as well very, very much. I just felt that at one point, I was really small. I developed physically at a much older age. I was, I think, 18, 19. So that took a toll in hockey.
Yep.
But yeah, and I just played amateur soccer, and I loved it. I was very, very passionate about the sport. And I started in the backyard, in the back lane, where we were a bunch of kids at the same age, and we would play soccer, we would play hockey in the back lane. And one night, I remember clearly, and it's my first time I ever went to an organized team. It was a Friday night, and my friend asked me, he was already playing on an organized team, and asked me, do you want to come tonight? And I was like, yeah. And I went, and I didn't even tell my mom. And I went there, and I enjoyed it. And the coach asked me right away, do you want to come back? And I said, yeah. And then I got home and first took a scolding and a little more than that. And then
Back
yeah.
in the day.
But I started, and my parents were into it right away.
You got to explain how you go from there to this career. You have to give us a little bit of, how this progresses.
It's it might give maybe some young players even an understanding of it's not always the best ones. So my career as an amateur, once I I was always a pretty good player growing up. As you know, I started organized soccer at 8 years old, and then from 8 to probably 13, 14, I was always probably one of the better ones. And then as my friends started developing at 14, 15, and I was still really small. And it started to play itself in where now I'm playing less. I'm getting a little bit discouraged. You know, a lot of my friends were picked for the Quebec team. I went to tryouts and got cut right away on the U16 team. With the regional team, I was playing, but I was playing on and off, and I just loved it. And when I say, and this is messages that I give my kids when I'm coaching my kids in terms of do what you feel. And I was never jealous of anything, never jealous of anyone. I would go watch my friends play that were playing in the provincial team or on the regional team, and I'd have my ball and I'd be training and stuff like that. And there was never that why him and not me, ever. And these are messages that I try to pass on today because you never know. The first thing is, do you love doing it? And I loved doing it. I loved playing. I loved being in those environments, even if I was watching the game. And then slowly but surely, I started growing. I went to Dawson College. At Dawson, we went to nationals both years. And I guess someone from Toronto saw me at that moment. I think I was 16, and called the federation here. There was a national training center, au Centre de Haute Performance, and says, we want that kid to be in that environment. And from there, I guess, 17, 18, I started growing, and I made the U18 Quebec team. And from there, I was invited to the U20 National Team, and that's where everything took off. I always believe that it's opportunity and moments, and I think I found the right coach at the right moment, because the coach of the U20 team, Tony Taylor, Scottish descent, just made me into a man. He made me understand as a center midfielder. The Quebec players were always looked upon as technical, but didn't want to work and not physical.
Maybe not physical.
Yeah. And all of a sudden, he made me understand at the next levels what a center midfielder needed to look like.
Yeah.
And he worked us really hard. And that's where I started transforming into a center mid that could have gone forward, that defended, and became a more complete player that gave me the opportunity to go pro.
Do young footballers, you think, at that age, and I mean in your teens at that point, I don't know how young you are, right? But when I hear that a coach worked us really hard, and maybe at that moment you weren't so happy, do you always, and have you always, it seems that on the back end, when this is done and you look back, you're happy that coaching was a little tough on you. Is that something that you think is lost today in football because of, just the way the world works and society works?
Yeah, because first, back then there weren't as many good coaches as now. A lot more qualified coaches right now, as well as a lot more players, a lot more better players at a younger age. But now it's putting these kids in the right environments, because if they have talent, it's now putting them in environments where they're challenged every day. And you get to a certain age, and it's exactly like school, where if you can't absorb information, because a lot of kids that have talent, now you have to evaluate, are they able to absorb information? Because now at 15, 14, 15, 16, now you're getting into, the tactical aspects and the decision making and the timing of when we play a ball and when to make a run. And if you can't absorb information and you just play out of natural talent, at one point you're going to hit a wall.
Okay.
And these are the things that at a young age, to be in right environments and coaches that educate these kids.
How are you going pro? Where does that change? And all of a sudden, this is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to do this as a career.
Yeah. So when I was part of this U20 national team for 2 years, we qualified for the World Cup. The World Cup was in 1987. So we did the qualifiers in 86 in Trinidad, and we finished first overall. and qualified for the World Cup. And then in preparation from 86 to 87, the CSL came to life. And I was drafted by the Hamilton Steelers, right?
Wow.
Yeah, but when I was drafted that year, that they came to life, but because I was with the U20 National Team, and we were in preparation, we were doing a lot of tours, getting ready for that World Cup. You know, I decided not to play that season and stay with the national team.
Because you didn't want to break the pattern?
Yeah, just because, again, you know, I thought that I was in a good environment where I was challenged every day. And I believed that the coach was making me better every day. And I felt this is where I want to be. My objective was to play in that World Cup. And my objective was to be a starter, which I was. And what happened is funny, is that after the World Cup, Montreal came in with a team in 88.
Right.
So what happened was Montreal bought my rights from Hamilton, right?
For the homegrown sort of energy.
And it's crazy when you think of it. They bought my rights for $15,000.
Wow. Wow. No.
Which back then,
yeah, that's right. That's no joke.
So, you know, it's funny because, you know, I look back and for me, money was no object in terms of me signing a professional contract.
Okay.
My only thought was I want to play pro soccer and I want to play it in my town.
Right.
And I had now all of a sudden the opportunity to play in my hometown.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. I played in the CSL from 88 to 92.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So through those years, like, you know, when you're playing pro soccer and you never know if there's going to be a season the year after.
Yeah.
We've lived through so many of those moments. You know, I've lived through getting paid by gas coupons.
Yeah,
and I didn't drive.
You didn't drive? You'd sell them.
Today we're I guess pioneers because we stuck through a lot of difficult moments just because we wanted to play pro soccer.
Yeah.
And you know, when you look back then and you know, especially now, you start understanding that for me, soccer was always roll up your sleeves and go to work and keep clawing at trying to make this real.
But that's also because of the way you got to where you were in the pro level. It was not an obvious path. Then you get to the Impact, and that jump, or jump is maybe the wrong word, but just another pro environment with another league. I mean, the league only today is 25 years old. Yeah. Right? So young. I mean, I know the MLS isn't the same as what it was back. You know, we weren't playing in the MLS like that. But that team and its transformation in Montreal and football, I mean, all of that is just, there's a huge story and history there. Yeah.
So when the Impact came alive, which, you know, the Saputo family bought into, that went into the APSL, which was the major league
level
in North America. The beauty of that was that it was they were very humble beginnings. You know, when we talk about now the owner Joey, you know, on game day putting up billboards, because, you know, we basically had maybe 5 people in the office and with the owner there, but passionate about it. And it goes a long way, because when the top of the pyramid, you see them rolling up their sleeves and working, everybody underneath is going to be like, wow. Okay,
we all gotta work.
This is where we're at, you know, and we're gonna fight to make it grow. And you know, the other thing is that you have an owner now that since '93, you know, in soccer back then as well, you're losing money, and you know, so that's why you ask yourself, are you in it for the right reasons? And they were in it for the right reasons all the time. Is to give back. He was passionate about the sport, and they're still there, and that's really impressive.
And that trickled down into the dressing room.
Into the dressing room, again, a nucleus of guys that really believe that, you know, we want soccer to really now take its place in Quebec and in Canada and North America.
I want you to tell us, can you give us one of your best moments as a player?
Yeah, I guess as a player, I'm saying we we won in '94. You know, we came into the league in '93. The Impact. Yep. And we had a pretty disappointing season. Why? Because we were new in the league.
Yeah.
Growing
pains.
Growing pains. Even though the family had made important investments, and it's just to get your feet wet. And all of a sudden, the second year, now we're competing. We objectively we wanted to make the playoffs, and we end up winning the championship. And
So cool.
and everything about what went on, and just feeling too, by winning this, we're getting to another level. Another great moment, but not as a player, and it was on a losing cause, but was the Champions League final.
Right.
Champions League final, CONCACAF Champions League final with in 2015, I think,
Yeah.
with the Montreal Impact in front of 60,000 people.
It was nuts.
And it was nuts, and you just felt, there's when I really, really felt, man, we're there. We're there. Like, we have 60,000 people, the whole province, the whole
province.
country,
Yeah.
and the MLS, because we represented MLS.
Right.
Right?
Behind it.
And you're like, man, we're there.
Well, then on the flip side, Mr. D,
Yeah.
I give us as a player one of the worst moments of your career that you're like, oh man.
Yeah. So one of the worst moments was in '96. In 1996, we were our rivals were Rochester Raging Rhinos, and I think it was quarters or semifinals, and the first game at home. And I was always a very intense player. I was always on the edge. I was growing up. It wasn't about winning. It was about not losing. That was my mindset all the time. I hated losing. And that game there against Rochester, first 10 minutes, we go down 2-0. And now, like, I'm really wound up. And all of a sudden, there's a play where our winger gets the ball, and the center back from the other team runs across and goes right through our winger. And now, our winger's on the ground, but the center back is acting like he was hurt. And I have no idea what possessed me. And I guess I just went out of my body and went and I guess sprinted probably about 40, 50 meters and just jumped on his chest with my knees. He was on the ground. And I was like, okay, what did I just do?
While you're right after.
Right after. And
now,
I get red carded.
Yeah.
And now I know that I have to walk through the field and going to the dressing room. And I'm hearing now our owner, Joey, on the top, because it was at Robillard.
Sure.
And I'm going through the bottom floor, and he's screaming, Nick, what did you do? And I went into the dressing room, and I stayed there for about 3 hours by myself. The team came in. I didn't say a word. I stayed there, and I was just like, I still couldn't get over what I had just done.
Yeah.
And it's something that
What?
I still, it's, when you talk about worst moments
that's heavy.
as a player, and it got really heavy.
Tell us a little bit about this induction and the whole family, what's happening with Soccer Quebec on Saturday.
I'm being inducted into the Quebec Soccer Hall of Fame as, thank you.
That's amazing.
As a player, and I'm very honored. I'm very honored because, like I said, going through my amateur soccer in Quebec, the struggles and the good things as well, and it's almost like a good message to the young ones, in terms of how my pathway in what direction it went. So it'll be fun.
The MLS has made it official that they're making this big move to switch the calendar so that it follows Europe and pretty much the rest of the world. So for trades and timing, and what are your thoughts on it?
Listen, change is always hard.
Yeah, people get cuckoo about change.
Change is hard and it's scary, but it's a part of it. And I think that what MLS has done over the years, to me, is very impressive. Yeah, it's very impressive to where it was at and where it's at today. Yeah. When you think of new franchises that come in with training facilities at 500 million and new stadiums at $1 billion. Yeah, that's pretty impressive. Yeah, and I think slowly but surely, they're doing everything right, or they've done everything right to really become, an important nation for soccer.
Yeah.
And I think this change, helps in terms of transfer windows, in terms of FIFA windows, and they just want to align themselves with the rest of the world.
For FC Supra, what are your hopes for just the first season that's kicking off in April in 2026?
Yeah, so understanding it's your first year, and you can build the best team, you can have everything, but you have to understand that it's a new, and you got to get your feet wet. We have to be in it all for the same reasons, from the top of the pyramid with the ownership group all the way down, and understand. Yeah, you want to put objectives in place, but the first thing is roll up our sleeves and get to work.
12 questions here on the first half with Nick DeSantis. Ready?
Yep.
Yeah, no sweating. What is your favorite film? Oh, you can't freeze on number one.
Godfather.
Number 2, what is your favorite song or band?
Rush.
Favorite sports team?
Boston Bruins.
Oh, man, what? Number 4, favorite athlete, dead or alive? You can't say yourself. Come on, man.
Baggio.
Baggio, yeah, baby. Number 5, what is your favorite food?
Sushi.
Number 6, what is your favorite drink? Alcoholic and non-alcoholic?
Beer.
Yeah? And that's it? Just beer?
Water.
Day, beer, water. Beer or water. Like it. Number 7, what would be one thing you would buy if you won the lottery?
A house for my kids.
Love it. Number 8, dream trip.
European trip.
Number 9, how do you deal with stress?
I don't.
That's it. Just straight. I don't do it. Okay, I like it. Number 10, a little, first half after dark for the ladies out there. Pajamas or no pajamas, sir?
No pajamas.
Ow. Number 11, what is your favorite fashion brand at the moment?
Oh, I can't go there.
Well, you can. You always wearing crispy white sneaks. Come on, dude. It's okay. No fashion? You leave it.
Fashion, but no brands.
No brand.
No name
Just
brands.
No problem. Number 12, what is one thing you cannot live without?
Pasta.
Amazing. That's amazing. And so our little sneak in, 12.1, give me one word to describe football. So football is?
Passion.
Beautiful.